Hello, everybody, and welcome to an HVTV production here at the virtual Homestead-Miami Speedway for the AWC Pro Series as they get ready to take on the Beach Bash 150 once again here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Hello, my name is Christian Delgado, your lead producer and commentator for tonight's race here at the HVTV studios here in Central Kansas. And thank you guys so much for tuning into the broadcast here for the Beach Bash 150. A little over 8 minutes left in practice, and fastest in practice, we talk about someone we have to look for is your league owner right there, and Jake Scarborough, and this Lincoln Park machine. Fastest in practice. Looking at Wyatt Thompson, this number 95 machine's P2 in practice with Tristan Pena, and that number 15 machine E3 in practice. We're taking a look back at, some of the guys who ran well last week there at Daytona here in also, one of the Florida tracks. Derek Lemke in this number 31 went there and claimed victory at the World Senior Racing, by 16/100ths of a second. And now sitting P9 in practice, just inside the top 10. Derek talked about wanting to come here and, trying to fit this into the schedule. It's a good promotion tool for these admins and Jake as the league owner to say like, hey, we have someone who's racing the truck series and the cars tour and in some late models, right, coming in here to race with us. And so Derek told us in his interview last week that he was going to try his best to make it here and maybe go 2 for 2 here in the AWC Pro Series. And obviously you see him on track right now coming out of 3 and 4 trying to just set some solid laps with about 6.5 minutes left in practice. Still sitting in that P9 position. Taking a look at your points for coming into Homestead. Obviously, we're looking at your points leader as he won at Daytona. Derek Lemke in this number 31, your points leader. Obviously, that will go away. I don't know how eligible he is for points, obviously, as an all-star driver. Not going to be able to race probably full-time here. We'll see. Noah Brown in the 65. Our P2 in points right now. Noah not on the track, not even in the session. We'll see if Noah can make it back. It's like P3 in points is Derek Orange, also not on track. Hopefully he can get back on. And also P4 of Derek Carter Pendleton, not on track. The 09 of Nathan Ferreira. Rounding out your top 5 and really your top everybody who really who's up here in the points not showing up. Let's see the first person that is to show up that looks like is locked in or has had a good points finish is maybe this 85 machine of Heinen Jones. And he's back there in the P10 spot on the cutoff line. Everybody else ahead of him is not on the racetrack and not in the session. So that's very interesting to see. Obviously, very early in the season. And some of those drivers might think they can afford to, maybe skip a couple races. And now you see the 13th of Ryan Rombon. And now P10 in practice. Hopefully I'm saying that name correctly. Now our league owner Jake gave me a little list of pronunciations. Obviously new to the AWC Pro Series and trying to figure out how all the names are pronounced. Obviously this league is definitely not cutting me any slack when it comes to some unique names here. So we'll try to get those as down as we can throughout the season and get it down right in patent. Now looking at Homestead, it's one of those unique tracks that we're gonna go to on the schedule with this progressive banking. That's something I always love about Homestead. It's just how many different lanes you can use up here. You see this 13 right now, kind of using the middle, kind of trying to put those left sides on that seam on the bottom and come back up. But you're gonna look at some other drivers. Maybe if we can find someone who's maybe running a different lane. The 19 on the bottom right now. That's Tyler Stevenson. See what this 95 is going to do. Looks like he's going to run the bottom as well. Everybody running the bottom as you see some wrecking as they come by. See the 88. Here we go. Santiago. Up there. Using a little bit more of that upper girth. But as you see right there, I mean, especially in these Xfinity cars, you can really use a lot of the track and kind of change up where you run. You can kind of use this top like this 88's doing right now and get a good run off the corner. But you see a lot of people just electing to go at the bottom. Electing to run the bottom, get a little bit of a better entry, but give up that exit speed. And now you see the 88 trying to work that inside in 3 and 4, but you see him running the wall in 1 and 2. So just really interesting to see what these drivers are going to do. Try to use these tools in their toolbox to try to save tires and gain some speed. Santiago with that lap moves up to P17 in practice. Justin Pena back on track. He's moved his way up to P3 in practice. The number 15 machine, that Whataburger car. Not the best luck last week at Daytona. Got caught up in an early wreck and just kind of went downhill from there. No one of your other all-star drivers see him get into the wall. It's super easy to do that when you're trying to, run that top as close as you can. You're going to see that a lot through the race if drivers decide to go up there and run the wall. If you overdrive entry a little bit, you are going to push up, and then either have to lift or get into that wall. The funny thing is, if you get into the wall just right, it actually does make you a little bit quicker, but it's going to be that cat and mouse of, do you want to do that? I think I'd rather prefer not to hit the wall if I was out on the track. But we'll definitely see some, some scrapes and some bumps from overdriving entry if you're going to run that top, whether it's in 1 and 2 or in 3 and 4. With just under 30 seconds left in practice, you're going to basically not have anything else go by. So it looks like Jake Scarborough going to win practice here at Homestead. Currently off track, so we'll look at your P2 driver of Wyatt Thompson. And number 95, 213 similar machine. As practice begins to wrap up, we'll get ready to head into qualifying. We wait on cars to get on track. We have once again Wyatt Thompson out on track to set his quality lap. You'll see Wyatt come out of turn forward and start his 2 quality laps. See what kind of line he decides to run. I think he's going to run the wall. that top side in 1 and 2. And get a good run off the corner if he keeps that car straightened out. He will. That's the top here in 3 and 4 again. He gets that car wound up coming out of 3 and 4. See what kind of lap time he runs. A 35.2. Good enough for P3. I think that was more of a warming up the tires line as you see him run the bottom down here in 1 and 2. About 3/10 up right now, going into 3 and 4. Going to run the bottom once again. Out of 4 to the line. 34.4. Give me enough for P3 behind Pena and Kynan Jones. Still far low in this 24. Coming out of 3 and 4. Going to complete his first lap. Complete his second lap, my apologies. 34.7, that's good enough for P10. Ryan in this number 13, coming out of pit road. Going to the line to start his first timed lap. You're gonna have the boat to see there. Lemke complete a lap, no time, so I think he might have snagged the wall on that first lap. See what he could do on the second lap. See this 13 doing the same thing that 95 did. Running the wall this first lap. 35.0. P14 right now. Ooh, I think he got in the wall there. That is Xerox. His lap might already be discontinued, but we'll see coming to the line. Oh man, he's so close to that outside wall going to 3 and 4. Like he will gain about a 10th or 2. Harrison did not allow that lap time. Thomas Capuano completing his second lap. 35.2. This is quick time right now. Getting back to the line. That will complete your quality. .100 laps here at Homestead-Miami Speedway for the Beach Bash 150. And we're going to allow some of these drivers to continue to get in there, to adjust their cars, fine-tune these, machines before they can get in. They can do there's so much tools in the chest that they can use to, make these cars drive faster depending on what they want to do. They can adjust the brake bias, the steering ratio, you know, and all that. And there's so many more tools that they can use to figure out what they want to do here. Let's go ahead and get your starting lineup here, presented by High Velocity TV. Now, number 35 of Bryson Bird gonna take the pole. We did not get to see that lap, but Derek Lemke and Tristan Pena, those two all-star cars, gonna run that row 2. Row 3, White D. Thompson, waiting on that row 4. You're on at the top 10, Wilson Hunt, Tyler Stevenson in that number 19 machine. P13, Santiago Aguirre with Derek Farr. Gonna round out row 7. P15, Gilberto Gamera with Ryan Gonbum, rounding out row 8. Row 9 is Murray Pompiani. Hopefully I'm saying that right, with Adam Tao. Gonna round out that row 9. Row 10, Thomas Capiano with Dominic Benetti. Gonna finish off that row. Caleb Gordon and Logan Manser gonna round out row 11. Row 12, Keenan Kimber with Jason Steptoe. And running out the field in 25th is Taylor Gerald with Brendan Reed. With that said and done, pace car is going to take that hard left. Coming out of turn 4, Bryson Bird will lead your first lap at tonight's race. Closely in suit is that 85 of Kynan Jones. Trying to run that middle lane, trying to get a good run off the top. You see Tristan Pena with a little bit of a wiggle in that third place spot, and that's going to allow Derek Lemke to try to tackle and take advantage. Derek's going to run that bottom, try to paint that white line the best of his abilities. Trying to get side by side out of turn 4. Not quite going to do it. The 50 gets to run off the top. You already see a little 4-car battle for this P4 position. A little wiggle out of the 85 once again. Side by side further on back. That's the 24 of Joel Farlow trying to take on the 19. That's Tyler Stevenson in that 19. And you see, you get a better run on the entry, but the exit had to check up, and it's going to allow that 24 to clear. 19's not going to give it up that easy, though. 24 with a really good entry. Just needs to paint that white line, slide up, give that 19 that dirty air. Derek Lemke gets around the 85, taking over that P3 position. They're going to sit where he started in that P3 spot. We still have a battle for this P7 position. At 24, now going to run. 24 is doing a pretty good job ripping that wall. A little bit of contact. With that all said and done, that's going to allow the 88 to kind of close in here. Do a little bit of a wiggle out of the 88. Going to allow that 19 to jump in if he wants to. Does not take it. He's going to go up there and still try to battle side by side going into Weiner. These two are not going to give each other any space. think the 19 will clear, but here comes 88 on the inside of the 24 now. 24 was trying to charge to the field and now getting a little bit taken advantage of and forced to run that top lane throughout the whole track. 88 is going to drive it into the corner. He's to keep it stick. I think he will. He'll be clear. Here comes Jake Starbro. Try to take advantage. He's going to tuck back in line behind that 24. And that number 24 Ford machine starting to just fall back. Back 3 positions from where he started. Now under 5 from that number 77 machine. Jake's probably going to try the best he can to get around this car as quickly as he can. He's going to try the top in 1 and 2. Did he get a run off the corner? At least get side by side out of turn 2. He's going to clear. This 24 is going to get tagged by the 48. Aaron Evans gets into the back of the 24, and this 24 just continues to back up through the field. Forte gets in the back of the 24 again. And trying to put the bumper to the 24. I don't know. Maybe there's some extracurricular activity off the track, but some really hard racing here on lap 9 of 100 between this 48 and this 24. It's going to allow the 23 to get by. The 21's going to get by. Forte's going to drive it in super deep into the corner. Try to do a 2-for-1 move. Going to clear the 24. Going to be side by side with that 21 machine. Aaron Evans is on a mission to try to get some spots. But once again, you have to think when you're driving in that hard, you are going to burn new tires up. Looking underneath the 21. Ooh, 48. A little bit of the apron has to wash up the track. But it keeps the momentum. This battle right here, right outside the top 10, is your closest battle. Everybody's starting to get single file. Everybody trying to find their pace, trying to find their rhythm, trying to just settle in. You know, battling side by side here is not what you want to do here at Homestead. It's a tire management kind of track. See the 77 get past the 88. Gonna take over that P8 position. Jake's starting to drive to the field. Remember, fastest in practice, not the best qualifying lap out of this driver. Like for him to drive to the field. After everybody's single file, you're gonna start to see some guys start to, find their rhythm. Trying to figure out where they want to run. Figure out what kind of pace they want to set. Now 12 complete. You're at Homestead and we've seen everybody be pretty cordial throughout the race. Compared to what you saw at Daytona, where you saw some beating, some banging, and some impatience towards the start of the race. You continue to see the 77 trail that car in front of the 19. But as we were watching that battle for the lead, for that battle outside the top 10, Derek Lemke is actually taking the lead away from Bryson Bird. Bison hasn't let that number 31 get away too far, though. And neither has the top four. You see Kynan Jones and Tristan Pena back there, within 0.3 of a second of your leader. Once again, you're starting to see everybody spread out. So let's go ahead and go through your field here with 16 complete. Oh, a big slide out of the 53. Obviously, Derek leading your race right now. Battle for P2 as Kynan Jones going to take over that P2 position. Bryson Bird in third. Tristan Pena at fourth place spot, sitting right where he qualified with Wyatt Thompson back there. Going to round out your top five. Fidel Fabian in that 6th place position, up in one spot. Tyler Stevenson in that 19. Jake Scarborough, we talked about him a little bit earlier. Santiago in that 88, up 4 spots. And Gilberto Gomera gonna round out your top 10 in that 23 position, up 5 spots. Really, your big smoover is the guy behind him in that 11th place position. That's Thomas Capuano, up 8 spots. And your biggest loser right now is this 4 car, Rodney Roberts. Oh! He's going to get punted in the back, and that's going to be a caution, I believe. He's slow out here on the front stretch. No caution yet. He's stopped on the track right here. No caution, as we're going to go and take a look at this. See him just trying to hold on to this car, and looks like that's the 27. Just gets to the back of him. No remorse. And just dumps this Rodney. Just completely dumps him. I don't know if Rodney was hoping for a caution here, but caution will not wave, and he's going to be forced to tow that machine back to pit road. Probably going to be around a 2-3 minute tow. Because they're going to have to, the way that iRacing detects that, is they're going to have to tow him all the way back around virtually. They're not going to like put him in a stall or anything. They virtually, the simulator has to mimic like how long it would take to put you on a tower, to put you on a tow truck, and pace around here, and then drop you off at your pit stall. So it's going to be a while until he can even get into the pits to fix that car. It sounds like I heard that engine expire, so he might be out early here at Homestead. Battle for the lead. This 85 has started to run down your leader of Derek Lemke. Derek right now led just a little over half the laps complete. But this 85 is starting to run this driver down. Gonna give him a run for his money. See Derek up there really doing a good job running the wall. Not getting too close to it, but enough to still get a good run out of the corner. And it's going to be really hard to pass if he's doing a good job running that wall, because he just has just so much more pace down the straightaways. You see the 85, he's doing a really good job running the bottom. I feel like the bottom, at least in this type of car, is the preferred lane when you want to save tire. Versus that top, it's the longer way around. You're kind of abusing that right rear a lot more. Gonna see Derek go down there and block that 85. He's been running the bottom. So Derek said, I'm gonna go run down and run the bottom. Try to air block you. Try to force you to, run somewhere else. You want to get around me. See, oh, the 85 down pit road, as well as the 51 and the 88. So green flag pit stops underway early, as they might be trying to split this race into quarters. Unsure on how many laps these drivers can go on fuel, but obviously they've decided that they want to come down and take those fresh screws now, as caution is out. Caution out on the speedway. Looks like the 23 has had an issue. Looks like he gets in the back of the 19 car. That's Tyler Stevenson. Take a little bit of a closer look at this from a different angle. You see Tyler running in the bottom in that 19. You see the 23 on top. And just kind of runs in the back of the 19. Upsets that 19 machine, and he's going to go down and bump him actually down into the thing. So even though, you know, the 23 was the one who initiated the contact, he's actually going to get the worst out of the situation. You see that car completely destroyed. You see the engine now starting to smoke on that. Probably an early race over move for that number 23 machine. Lemke will win the race off pit road. Bryson Bird, P2. Wyatt Thompson, P3. And Tristan Pena, the P4 driver out of pit road. But Brandon Jones, number 85, really did benefit from that caution. Came down pit road early. Knew that it was around time for green flag pit stops. Came down, took tires, and now he's going to jump frog to the lead, as all the other people did come down pit road besides him. He's going to jump frog to the lead with only 2 lap older tires than the rest of the field. And even then, they're definitely not used worn tires. They're probably, you know, maybe a half a lap of race worn tires, which is probably even better because now they've got some heat in them now, and he's kind of put a heat cycle through them with everybody else who's coming out here on cold tires. While we have the time, we'll look at your track facts presented by Delta Eagle Designs at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Obviously, here at Homestead, Florida, 1.5 mile track with, obviously, we've talked about Homestead before with this dynamic banking, and this progressive banking, as they call it, with 18 on the bottom, and it goes up to 20 on the top. Obviously, 4 in the tri-oval or down the straights. So, thank you to Delta Eagle Designs for all they do for the channel. And we have down there linked in the description below his Twitter. If you're looking for any graphics works, whether that's graphic design or paint schemes, make sure to go check him out. Race car is going to take the hard left turn down pit road. Now it's going to be a Ford Toyota front row, and we're green once again here from Homestead-Miami Speedway. Really good jump out of the 85 machine. He's going to have a huge gap to that P2 driver back there. That's Derek Lemke in that number 31. Not the best start out of that Toyota. He's going to start to get some pressure from the 53 of Bird. But here comes the 95, Wyatt Thomas, with a good run off the top. Going to be side by side with that 53 coming out of turn 4. Scratch that. That 53 will clear 50, side by side, as we have a caution in the back. Once again, the 19 is involved. We're looking to what happened here back here outside the top 15. The 19, he already has a little bit of damage. We'll see if maybe that was part of the wreck. As no, I think we see that 13 back there. Get a little loose. That's a little bit of a checkup. And no, that is the 6, I believe. No. That's Wilson Hunt, I think, who caused all this. Like he's going to get a little loose out of the corner. He's actually going to hit the wall. When he pulls it off, gets into the right rear of the 19, going to hook the 19 up the track. Looks like everybody else gets pretty much unscathed from there on out. Because we're under caution with 30 complete here. We're going to go and let our partners over at iRacing explain about their service. We'll be right back after our words from our partners over at iRacing.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Beach Bash 150. Your top 5 currently: Jones, Lemke, Bird, Pena, and Thompson. You're going to see everybody get 2x2 side by side as you see the lights on the pace truck are off, which means we'll be going green this time by. Once again, you're going to see a Ford Toyota front row. You see the 85 on the outside this time. I think leader does get lane choice. You see that 85 elect the top, which will make that number 31 of Derek Lemke on that bottom. See Derek in that Extreme Sim Racing Toyota Supra. A new little color scheme for him. Only still ran that purple and white scheme at Daytona, where he won last week by 16/100ths of a second. Awesome and exciting finish. And, you know, Daytona's always going to put those on. You're going to see this pace car turn off in the pit road. We're going to hand this race back over to Kynan Jones to lead us back to green. Oh, you see someone in the wall back there. And they're slowing back towards the back half of this field. Keenan Kimber with lots of damage to that right side. We'll actually go back and take a look at what happened. See, I think that's the 8 machine. Get all kinds of sideways trick up basically the back half of the field. Keenan Kimber gets kind of hooked by the 8 up into the wall, and lots of damage to that machine. Caution is out once again. That's some more calamity. I think that's the 50 of Jason Steptoe. And we'll go back and look at this incident as well. Jason up there on the top. And oh man, I'm gonna have to take a different angle at this. Looks like maybe the 60 trying to side draft. Yeah, trying to maybe side draft that number 50 machine. Gets up, hooks him to into that inside wall. He's gonna back it into that straight talk unlimited wireless billboard. You see lots of rear end damage to that number 50 machine. Him getting it fired back up, but lots of damage to the Jason's number 50 Ollie's machine. Luckily, we'll have some time to go down pit road and get that fixed. But with 35 laps complete, we've seen kind of 3 cautions in succession. You know, they say cautions breed cautions, but obviously we're not even quite yet halfway done with this race, and we're starting to get into that rhythm again of, you know, kind of what we had at Daytona, where we had kind of like a decently long green flag run. We got a caution, and we got a big string of cautions, right? And it kind of continued to scatter throughout the rest of the race. Hopefully these guys can figure out where they need to put their car to avoid these cautions, so we can maybe get an actual green flag pit stop. And remember, you saw some guys come in on lap 24 for a green flag pit stop, and then we got the caution that lap after. We'd obviously all like to see this race go green for the rest of the way. See what kind of pit strategy and interesting things can go here at Homestead. Obviously, we talked about it before, how dynamic this track can be and how interesting it can be by just running the lines and trying to figure out where your car can go. Cars lining up side by side again, which means, once again, we'll be going green this time. Taking a look at your race weather for the night's race, 84 degrees. Now, you know, 12 mile an hour is wind coming out of the northeast, you know, guiding east. And that's also going to affect, you know, kind of how these cars are going to drive. Partly cloudy, still a really nice day to go racing here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, regardless. We're green once again here from Daytona. The 85 with a good jump out once again. Derek Lemke once again with not the best start. You'll see that 50. Pena actually get around him and take that P2 spot away from him. See Derek starting to fall back a little bit. He's going to settle in right there in that P3 position. Got the 63. Behind there sitting in touch, and you have the 21. Kind of a little bit of a top 5 breakaway. Closest battle right now is outside that top 10. You see Jake Scarborough trying to get around the 8 of Logan. Logan was caught up in that incident before that gave that 88 a lot of damage. Speaking of the 88, Keenan Kemper in that P15 position, trying to run these 3 cars in front of him down. This 24 trying to race these guys. Is for some odd reason not the pace we expected to see out of the 24. Qualified pretty well, but has continued to drop back throughout this race. Reaching that halfway mark, you got to think that there's something that this 24 team has to do to maybe get a little bit more speed out of this machine. A little 3-wide battle. Back here, right inside the top 10 for the 8th place. So we'll call this 7th through 10th or 11th. Right all up each other. Fabian in the 51. Gonna try to get a run off the top. Need to get on the outside of this 13 machine. Doing with the run off. Gonna clear. 13's gonna tuck back in line. It's contact again, and they're gonna be wrecking. We'll take a look and see what happened once again. Looks like the 27 trying to get underneath the 13 just misjudged it. Hit him in the left rear quarter. Unfortunately, that's just going to cause the 13 to lose control. He's going to grab the 95. Nowhere to go for Keenan Kemper at 88. And lots of calamity once again on lap 44, bringing out the caution out once again here at Homestead. It just looks like 2 guys just trying to race hard, and unfortunately that following car trying to make a run just didn't make the best move, and that's gonna happen. See several cars down pit road, either taking damage or maybe, we are around that time. They pitted on lap 24, some drivers. We are around that, 24 again-ish lap. Going to complete lap 46 here in a few. And, that's only a couple laps away, from if you want to do like these 24, 25 lap stints, to get to halfway, right? You're pretty close. To the 85 still out in front. The 31 back in P2. And these two have been kind of dominating the race. Since they've taken over the controls. They haven't really given up the reins. Only person I think would be in any jeopardy of, giving these guys a run for the money, at least from the speed we've seen, is that 53. And maybe that 77. Remember, Jake fastest in practice. We know he has some pace in that machine. Right now, sitting in that P5 position. The lights are off on the pace car. He will be taking this hard left turn on the pit road. And Kynan Jones going to the Geico restart zone. We'll be taking us back to green once again. A huge wiggle out of the 31. Derek with not a good jump. And allowed a 53 of Bryson Bird to get out in front of him. And now under pressure from the 77. Whoa, a huge jump by there to get down and clear on the bottom. And Derek's going to have to get back on that horse and get back up there on the tires pretty badly. Had some type of mistake on the restart and lost, a significant amount of time. And he went from starting P2, top of, leading that top lane, to now back to P4. And now with some pressure from that number 48 machine back there. Are they going to try to run that top to get around this 31 machine? And give the spot to the 48 at the line. Everybody on top of each other now. You see the 51 back there, Fidel. Trying to get underneath the 77 of Jake's Scarborough. They're going to make that momentum on the top work, clear the 51, and keep that P7 position. And we're going to try the bottom once again. Side by side, going into turn 3. 51 going to drive it in super deep, trying to get clear of the 77. He's going to do it. He's going to get underneath the 21. Has to check up a little bit, get back behind the 21. He's like, I'm okay with getting around 1, but I'm not going to risk losing a couple spots to get around 2. And Derek starting to drop back a little bit. You get a good run off the top. Not clear, almost clear, but not going to be able to get clear. Going to have to be forced to run that top once again in 3 and 4. There's a 49 with not a good corner. Momentum 3 wide out of 4 at the line. Give it to the 31. '51 trying to drive through the field as well. He's going to clear Derek. We've just completed the halfway point in your race, so only half, 50 40, I think, what is it, 48 laps to go here. Trying to look underneath the 53. We're looking at all that. The 48. Aaron Evans actually takes the lead away from that 85 machine. He's actually starting to pull away a little bit. And I'm not surprised to see this. I mean, this 48 has 9 laps on their tires versus some of these other guys who just have a little bit of an older tire. But is going to continue to march through the field. I mean, he's up 11 positions. You see the 21 of Thomas Capuano back there. He's up 17 positions. And look at this. Started 19th up to the P2 spot. I mean, that's just going to show you how much tire wear matters. And how much you can push these tires a little bit harder. I mean, you're going to continue to see this 85 start to, you know, fall into the clutches of, you know, Fidel and that 51. And Bryson, I think, on the same strategy right now, just trying to stay back there humble in that P5 position. Try to hold off the 51, and it's going to be a tough task. I mean, it's kind of a catch-22. Do you run the bottom and, you know, hope to just hold them off enough, or do you try to run the top to try to get away? Speaking of getting away, 22 underneath the 48 for this race lead. If this 21 wants to get around this 40, he's got to do it now, because them just racing side by side is slowing them both down and allowing, you know, some of these guys on the pressure tires to catch up. Still side by side going into 3. 21 drives in it just a little bit deeper. He's going to clear. The 48's trying to peek his nose down there. Not going to make it happen. Give it to the 21 of Capuano. And he will lead his first lap of this race. Well, outside the top 10. Derek Farr is going to make that outside work, and that number 27 Forever Lawn Machine going to get past the 6 of Pompini. See some cars down pit road. That's the 50 of Tristan Pena. And Tristan's only ran 14 laps on this stint. So I don't know, maybe he's trying, you know, what are we? You know, 40 to go. Maybe he's trying to split the rest of this race in half. I'm not sure, but you also see the 85. Kynan Jones down pit road as well. With all this said and done, it's still going to allow this 21 to continue to get this lead, but Fidel's starting to run down to P2 driver of Aaron Evans. Fidel doing a good job with the tires and everything else. Slowly running down your race lead, and also, you know, you already see him at the back bumper of that 48 machine. Easily gets around the 48. And looking at this nose cam, you only see that leader right there. I mean, he's right there to go run down and try to grasp and take some laps led away. Look at 39 to go. Everybody kind of sitting single file, trying to just manage their stuff. We still see some cars starting to come down pit road. See Dominic Bettini, that number 49 machine. Very interesting looking car for this driver. But you see Dominic on pit road. Now, once again, a good battle right here for the top 5. That is the 60 car of Noah Hunt, Wilson Hunt. My apologies. It says the 86 in the sim, but the 60 on track. You see Jake Scarborough trying to run him down. You see Jake right here. Kind of an up and down day, obviously. Right here in the 6th position. You know, getting passed by some lap traffic with some newer tires, but it's been as low as 17th, so been up and down through the field. Now sitting solidly in the top 5, in the top 6. See Derek Farr at 27 trying to make a move on the 6th machine. You see the 27 with a little bit of connection issues. I don't know if that's going to interfere with how he races now, but you saw him lose a bunch of time. Even get up into the wall a little bit. Closest battle on track right now is for this P11 position. Justin Pena trying to hold off Bryson Bird. These guys came back down pit road already. The 50 trying to hold off the 53. Now Bryson was up towards the front throughout really the whole race. Came down pit road, sacrificed the track position. Now he's gonna have to drive his way back up through to where he was. And that is the 48 right there. Going to lap these guys. I'm surprised to see some of these guys being lapped, but very interesting. Still have the 21 of Capuana with a about 3/10 lead on the P2 driver of Fabian. Starting to see single file, double file, and it's going to be an interesting game of what do you want to do, right? You see some drivers who have stayed out a lot longer than some of these guys who came down pit road. You have guys from 19 laps on their tires like your race leader, but you also have guys who just came in, like Bryson, 7 laps on their tires, 10 laps for Heinen in the 85 back there in that 9th place position. I think their goal right now is to at least unlap themselves just in case they do get a caution. They won't be trapped a lap down and be forced to do a wave or something like that. Because we know if we get a caution anytime soon, all your lead lap cars are going to come down pit road. ready to go here at Homestead. You're just, you know, it's kind of now the first person that's out on new tires. It's this 85 of Kynan. Nice on newer tires is back there. NP10. He's a 53. Starting to get caught a little bit by Lemke. Remember, Lemke kind of started to fall back, you know, these last couple restarts. I don't know if it was the old tires or what, but, you know, Derek has decided to come down and get tires, you know, probably obviously top off on some fuel. He's going to keep tracking and try to get back up through there. You see him make the pass on the 53. That's going to put him up inside the top 10. Bryson's kind of slow off onto the apron. Right now, looking at the closest battle, it's going to be back here. There's a little gaggle of cars, kind of 5 cars, you can say, kind of in a little mini pack. Christian getting run down by the 49 of Dominic. It's about 3 lap extra tires compared to that number 50 machine. '49 looking inside, side by side, going into 1 and 2. Hope he's going to get the run out. And they're going to continue. Capuano down pit road finally decides to pit after 29 laps on those tires. Some more fighting back here outside, early inside of the top 10. To the 50, still trying to battle side by side with this 49. They're continuing to lead now is Fidel, but Fidel's coming down pit road. Comes Joel, Aaron's. Green flag pit stops go underway. We're actually going to go a side by side, brought to you by HVTV. Once again, we'll let our partners over at iRacing talk about their product. We'll be right back after this, but you will not miss a thing as we go NASCAR side by side.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Homestead-Miami Speedway. 20 to go, so this race is really starting to count down as quickly, right? As we still have some drivers who have not decided to come down pit road. As you see, race leader Kynan Jones with 23 laps on those stints. Derek Lemke starting to reel him down with a little bit fresher tires. 19 laps on those. In that 49 of Dominic Benetti back there. Tristan Pena and Thomas Capiano battling off of that P4 spot. And Jake sitting back there in P5. But I'm looking out for this number 21. I mean, he's on new tires and he's, already going to be up into this P3 spot. He's only, 4 seconds behind the leaders, and he's running significantly faster. Like, he is about... These two are battling it out for the lead right now. I don't know if these guys can go all the way on fuel, but this is exactly what this 21 wants to see out of the hood of this, out of the hood of this 21 machine. Good to see that gap start to shrink and shrink slowly and slowly. And we talked about it earlier. It was about 4 seconds. He's already got it down to about 2.5. So continuing to reel these guys in. I mean, he's going to be a threat to get down there and race for this win. And if he can get down there, I don't think those two leaders have anything for him. Especially if they're going to go down in battle. Looks like the 85 backs off, lets the 31 of Lemke go. But with 16 now, 15 to go, I don't know if that's enough time to be able to hold back that 21 without some help. But coming to 15 to go now, it's I mean, it's going to be a cat and mouse game. Did we get a caution before we see this 21 get back to the race leader? Does it run out? And does Thomas have something left in the tank for these guys? 7, almost, 12 lap fresher tires than your race leader that this 21 has. And I mean, he's there. You already see the 85 in the 4 shot. And I don't think he's going to have a lot to fight for when this 21 gets there. Back there, you have Fidel and you have Castro, also on pretty fresh tires. They're starting to run down these leaders as well. A little bit behind, and guess what? The 21 has already gotten around to 85. Now it's up to him to go down and race down your last week's winner. Looking in, reeling in. And there's only a matter of time before this 31 gets taken advantage of. And we see a battle for the lead. 13 to go at Homestead. Does the 31 have anything for him? No, the 21's going to clear. In a way, he's probably going to take off. Derek Lemke and the 48 of Aaron Evans also. You see Dominic Benetti back there in the P6 position. Also has some older set of tires. Jake back there in P5 with older tires. We're trying to buy this time. And they're running in the top 5, trying to get everything you can out of this. '77. Kind of just running in his own lane right now. Derek Lemke's going to fall back to P3 now as the 51 is going to pass him. Now, does this 51 have anything? He does have a lap fresher tire. I don't know if that's going to be enough. But he is running slightly faster. That was a 35.9 to Thomas's 53 flat. 56 flat, my apologies. And now that's a 53.6. Thomas's 53.8. That's 2/10 of pickup. '21 continuing to pull away little by little from the rest of the leaders, but this 51 not gonna let him get away too far. And you see them basically matching lap times. Now a 9.1 to a 9.7. We're having to go down to the hundreds with 10 to go. Does this 51 have enough time and have the pace to get back up there? Derek starting to continue to fall back. I don't really think there's a whole lot that he can do now. He just has to sit and hope that we don't get a caution. Derek Lemke down pit road. He could not make it. Was hoping for a caution, I presume. He's gonna have to come down pit road. No black flag for him. So Derek's gonna come down, and now it's just gonna be a full push for this 31. I don't know if this is gonna be the move, but he's going to have, what, 7 laps to just push. Run quality laps to get some of that track position back. But the 21 decided to kind of keep the pace up as much as he can, but he did lose about half a tenth there. That corner. This lap traffic starting to slow him up a little bit. The 21. Next closest battle is back here for this P9 position. That's the 50 and the 85. But it won't be for long. This 85 has a lot of pace in it. He's going to easily get around the 50 of Pena. '85 is going to go up there, run that higher line versus the 50 who's going to go down and run the bottom. '85 is going to have to run off the top, continue to pull away. But still, this battle for the win is going to be between this 21 and this 51. Does Fidel have anything left with 5 to go? You see how close that 51 is again. They're just trying, and he can taste the win. He can feel it. And he's not been able to run, you know, the lap times he needs to get up there. About half a tenth slower that last lap. Going to the line, we'll see what he is now. The 51 trying to run the top, trying to get anything he can. I mean, you see that car just sliding out, trying to do anything. 4 to go here at Homestead. A little bit of battle for the P7 position. See the 6 of Murray letting Bryson Bird go by. But Bryson, after doing a different strategy, back to the 7th position. Remember, he was up there before this whole fuel situation came back, was up there in, you know, the top 4, top 5 throughout the race. But as soon as this happened, kind of put a lot of people and mismatched people in maybe places they probably don't think they should be going. But man, tough break for the 11 place driver. Derek Lemke all the way back there, a lap down. Looks like he will unlap himself right here, but with 2 to go. It's going to be way too little too late for Derek. You know, looked like he had a winning car. But he is on pace to maybe catch that 50 of Pena. He's right down the road. See if we can get him in time. Pretty big jump. Coming out of turn 4 though. White flag in the air for this 21. Thomas Capuano. Gonna take the white. Vidal right there. 5, 6 tenths back. Has not been able to close the gap since he kind of got here. And without a miracle or a huge hive and heave, I don't think he's going to get back to this 21. Out of turn 4. Win number 1 for this number 21. And Thomas Capuano's going to win at Homestead. And what an interesting race. I mean, it's obviously the fuel strategy and the tire strategy was what came out play here. And then there's kind of a trend. If you look at back at the stints from who pitted and when, right? 25 lap stint and then 24, 24, 24, 24. So your top 5 basically under a blanket with this 25 to 24 lap margin. So what an effort by all those drivers. You know, shout out to Derek Farr and that 27. Oh, so we have some crashing in the back. Up 8 spots. We're going to see this 21 burn it down here on the front stretch. He claims his victory here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. See him continue to burn it down, and I mean, it's you know, not the race I think we expected to see. You expected to see maybe some aggressive racing, and unfortunately, it just came down to track position and really tire management and tire strategy, right? So, and this 21 timed it perfect, right? He came down, he saved the tires just enough. Now he's here burning it down here at the virtual Homestead-Miami Speedway. See him doing one of those Polish victory laps. Alan Kowicki style. Alan Kowicki was the one who made these famous, and a great homage to him. Look, see him continue to go down, wave there at the fans. Continue to see this 21. I think he's gonna park her right here on the start finish line, maybe do a couple more burnouts. Gonna park her right here on the start finish line. And we already had our commercial break as we went NASCAR side by side. So we're actually going to jump right into your top 3 interviews. We're gonna talk to your third place finisher here, and Aaron Evans. Hey Aaron, it's Christian up here in the HVTV booth. You got a copy? Well, pretty quiet race for you. You know, up 9 spots from where you started back there, and just walk us through your race. Walk us through, that that last run there. It looks like maybe kind of a fuel mileage kind of gamble thing. To just walk us through what was going through your head through that whole shabacle.
I was thinking about the last pit stop I'd need to make, so I dove it into the pits at one of the cautions, and I was like, oh crap, I have to undo my tires, and I ended up taking right sides by accident. So I was like, might as well use them, and that's what brought me to the front, the extra confidence from that. And then, you know, I was talking with Fidel because he's my teammate, so we were talking about the best way to try and catch back up to TCAP. Sadly, it didn't happen, but we went through the motions, did our best. And for Alpha Redux, this is great. It's our first podium, and it's our first 2 and 3. So
Yeah, it's super exciting to see, when, some of these teams come together and you have this happens, right? Obviously, Daytona wasn't the best week for a lot of people, and obviously, we saw the 31 of Lemke take it home there, but can't complain about that too. Like you said, can't complain about a P2 and a P3 finish here at Homestead where
yeah,
how dynamic the track is. So I saw a lot of people primarily going in the bottom. Was the top just not really as good as everybody expected to, or was it just more everybody trying to save tires, you think?
it it was definitely saving tires. Like Jake said, it was supposed to be a night race, so I think if it was a night race, we would have seen more people on the bottom line, the middle line, and the high line. As you saw throughout the race, most of us were running the bottom line, and then later into the stint, we ran the middle. The high line, it's just super unpredictable because you can get pushed up into the wall, you can get wheel damage or something, and you just don't want that overall.
I definitely agree. I mean, the High Line has its challenges, and it has you take a risk up there. You overdrive the corner, you give yourself damage, you overdrive it, and get on the gas a little bit too on exit, you spin out and get loose and burn up the tires. So I definitely see why you get the racing a little bit. But before we let you go, is there you obviously shout out your teammate and Fidel, but anybody else you want to shout out or thank for this P3 finish?
Um, well, first I wanna thank my girlfriend. Ironically, the reason I'm not blaming it all on her, it was part of both of us, but that's the reason I wasn't here last week. So I missed that race, but I'm glad we were able to be home tonight. And then I also want to thank her because I'm running a temporary paint scheme right now. She was the one that designed the original. And once it's ready, it'll be on the car.
That's super cool to hear that. Especially you don't really hear a lot of like the girlfriends and the spouses and stuff really being as involved in the sim racing community. Really even in real life with the racing community, they usually stay at home and watch the boys go race. So that's super cool to hear that. But I guess we'll drag you down to back into the waiting room to talk amongst your teammates and your competitors. But once again, congratulations on this P3 finish. Hopefully we can talk to you some other time.
Thank you. I'll
Yeah.
see you around.
Yep. Have a good rest of the night.
Thank you. You too.
That was your P3 finisher, Aaron Evans. And that number 48 machine takes it home. P3, obviously. Fidel next on the board. Let's see if we can Find this number 51 machine. And we'll talk to you. Is try to get this number 51, maybe. We'll talk to the teammate of Aaron and Fidel in that number 51 machine. Hey Fidel, it's Christian up here in HVTV booth. You got a copy?
Gotcha, loud and clear.
Well, definitely a interesting race for you. Obviously, you know, I talked to your teammate in Aaron and kind of walked us through. He kind of walked us through strategy, but walk us through specifically for you trying to get to that 21. I mean, he talked about you guys trying to game plan, trying to get back up there, but you know, what else did you need to get up there? It looks like you had the pace initially to run down that 21, but it looks like you guys kind of, as the tires kind of evened out, you guys kind of just kind of stalled out, and we're running the same lap. So what else do you think you needed to maybe get up there and give that 21 a run for your money?
Maybe a bit of luck. You know, that first yellow really set me back a bit, put me a lap down on the yellow, got back on the lead lap, but I was starting all the way in the back and had to fight my way forward, so I couldn't really figure out how my car was in clean air. And then once I got there, that thing was way out of control. I didn't know how to handle that thing, but somehow I was able to and came out with a P2. So could be disappointed with that.
Yeah, looking back at Daytona and, you know, ups and downs from that race, looking, you know, here and now with a P2 finish, you know, having a good finish here at Homestead, going into Bristol where, you know, Bristol, you know, I feel like, at least from my experiences at Bristol League Racing, you either have a really good race or, you know, you're limping it around with damage all race. So, what's the mindset going into next week with Bristol, with how chaotic, you know, these short tracks can be here, especially in these Xfinity cars?
Basically the same kind of mindset I went into today. Just try to get a big points day and try to finish out strong. That's just how we do at Redux Racing.
I definitely agree. You guys are, you know, a little bit of a hot streak. So, you know, P2, P3 here for Redux Racing. But before we let you go, anybody you want to shout out for this P2 finish? Any, you know, friends, family, sponsors, shout outs, or anything you'd like to thank for this P2 finish?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out Casita Caliente. Call 917-217-2958 for more info for that. I'd like to thank my mom, my brother, my sister, my niece and my nephew living out in Florida. I'm going to meet them there in June. All 34 cousins I have living in PA, New York, and the Dominican Republic. And gotta thank my teammates, obviously, Jake, Santi, Aaron, Adam, all of them over there. They're wonderful bunch. And that's pretty much about it. That's all who I gotta thank.
Well, we definitely appreciate your time up in the booth. But like I said, you know, hot streak for you, for your team, and hopefully we can talk to you later on this season, maybe up here in Victory Lane.
All right.
Hey.
Thank you for your time.
Yep. You have a great night.
You too.
And that was the 51 of Fidel. Your P2 finisher just so close, but not close enough. 7/10 behind. Not going to make it happen tonight. So we're going to go and try to grab your P21 finisher. Just one moment. We had our overlays dying us right there. Sorry about that, everybody. We're going to go ahead and talk to your race winner in Santiago. Or Thomas, my apologies. Hey Thomas, it's Christian up here in HVTV booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Well, victorious here at Homestead. So first of all, congratulations on that. But second of all, it seemed like it kind of up and down, kind of weird race, right? You kind of had a longish green flag run at the start, then kind of a big, spring of slurry of cautions towards the middle of the run, and then towards the end there, we had a couple of green flag longer green flag runs to end off the race here, but we notice some differing green flag pit stop strategies with the tires and stuff, but looked like you were able just to pick the right one and were able to drive your way through the field. But just walk us through your race and walk us through that pit strategy and what was going through your head through that.
Well, with these races here, I'm not gonna be able to run really much of the season here because like we got on the rear panel of the car, I go to Stafford Speedway. My business Fenceline Films work there at Stafford Speedway, so I only got a couple select appearances here with this league, and if Mother Nature said let's race today for me, so no race in Stafford. That means I'm here on Friday nights. So shout out to Jake Scarborough for getting me into this league late, really late. But we raced Daytona, we raced today. And the goal is to win. I personally feel like I'm good in these Xfinity cars, really good at taking care of the equipment in here. And my strategy today was just to bottom feed the whole race. Take care of it on the bottom. Try to be there with the tire at the end, in the first run, I got forced to the top a few times. Slowed up a little bit by some cars that are different speed, and had to move my line around to try to close back up to the front group. So I took some life out of my first set of tires, but the second set, got to the front for the strategy in that one. But like you said, those strings of cautions really kind of benefited me. I was able to really work my way forward, when with that whole deal. And then like you said, it really worked out that we didn't get that final caution because I was out of tires. But the strategy also really worked really well into that because on my second set was really taking care of it the whole time, and then after everybody started pitting, I really kind of took the life out of the tires the last few laps to stay well ahead of Fidel, and get myself to a point where I had a good stop there into the box, nice and clean, out nice and clean, and just hit my marks, took my time. Take care of that right rear especially, but all four tires off the bottom, and it really ended up working. Fidel had me on my toes there the last probably 10 laps. I was looking at the relative. He would gain a tenth or two on me, and then I would just get back into my rhythm, gain a tenth or two. Man, but it's awesome to get this win here tonight. I'm pumped to be in an Xfinity car again. But I've owned this Chevy for, I don't know, remember when I got on iRacing. I think 2020, maybe 2021. I've owned this Chevy Xfinity car and have never raced it until Daytona. I've run every other car other than the Chevy until Daytona about a week ago. But to get wrecked, to be running well and then get wrecked out of that, and then to win today is just really, really awesome. So again, shout out to everybody for putting these races on. Shout out to Stafford Speedway and Mother Nature for raining out today. But yeah, I'm pumped. Have Fenceline Films on the side of the car, SKM on the hood, Smart Modified Tour on the quarter panels. They'll be racing again pretty soon here. But I'll be at Stafford Speedway every Friday. Tomorrow, we'll be at Race Champions at Chemung. If anybody is listening around the upstate New York area, you should head over there. It's gonna be a great Race Champions feature tomorrow. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for putting this broadcast on. Definitely be the first thing that I do once I'm out of this car here. But thanks everybody, appreciate it.
Well, I definitely appreciate you for taking the time out of your day and coming out here. Obviously, Mother Nature preventing you for going and doing your real life stuff. But I think it is really cool that we have guys that are willing to come down and race with us. Guys that do the sim and don't have the connections or whatever it has to do to get in a real car. So it is super cool, especially from a broadcaster point of view to see, you guys like you yourself and Derek who, have real life experience come down and race with us guys here, especially here in the AWC. So yeah, shout out to Jake for all that you do. But, I guess you already kind of did your shout out. So I'm just going to go ahead, let you go up there, celebrate with friends and family. And like I said, I guess good luck to you tomorrow with all your IRL stuff. And that was your race winner, Thomas Capuano. I guess if you guys, like you said, if you guys are up there in the New York area, I know we do have some viewers that are probably up there, and I know some viewers that do go to Stafford that might be watching here this broadcast here and race with us here at AWC. So huge shout out to him, and heck yeah. Well, before we will let you guys go, we will go over your unofficial race results brought to you by High Velocity TV. Because we did have our overlays crash, so everybody will be out except the race leader. Obviously, Thomas Capuano, your race winner here. We just talked to him. Fidel Fabian and P2. Aaron Evans, P3. Joel Farlow, in that 24, is going to finish P4. Rounding out your top 5, Wilson Hunt, Derek Farr, P6, Kynan Jones, P7, Bryson Bird, P8, Tristan Pena, P9, and Derek Lemke going to round out your top 10. Murray, P14, Wyatt Thompson going to round out your top 15. Logan Manser, P16, Ryan Rambum, P17, Tyler Stevenson, P18, Keenan Kimber, P19, and Jason Steptoe. Gonna round out your top 20. Roberts P23. 23rd is gonna be 24th is gonna be Taylor Jarrell. P25 Caleb Gordon. And rounding out your field, Brendan Reed in that number 26 position. Well, from everybody here over at the HVTV studios, we appreciate you for coming and watching the broadcast, whether it's over on Twitch or on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and give a thumbs up on the broadcast. We're trying to get this out as much as we can. Young and growing network. And yeah, so we'd really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody in the chat for coming in and typing Big Gaming. I thank you for that. And just try to share the broadcast as much as you can. And for people over on Twitch, if you do want to hit that follow button over here, we do more than just a broadcast over there. We do stream, my league racing and other stuff and have some fun. Thank you, Birdie, for the follow on Twitch. Thank you, Dom, for the follow. Thank you, Jeff, for coming here and typing in the chat. But from everybody here at the HVTV studios, my name is Christian Delgado, your lead producer and commentator for tonight's race here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Once again, for the Beach Bash 150 here for the AWC Pro Series. Once again, you guys have been watching a high velocity YouTube production, and we'll hope to see you guys soon. Hope you guys have a great night. We'll see you guys soon. Peace out, everybody.